Oh, you're special?
Good evening.
Let me tell you about your
I'm
dad.
Doing a disclaimer.
I'm already into the 420, damn it.
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
Anonymous has a way...
Go ahead, Ira.
Oh, we're live. You're live now.
Amy has a way worse mouth than me.
No, Amy has... Well, Amy holds it together.
She releases it when wants, though. It's fantastic.
She releases it like on SwearNet.
Oh yeah.
Did you watch that
well,
episode?
did you watch the episode of her coming back for like helping the homeless people? And
No.
she said the F word about 18 times and giving back.
Amy did my show with me for 3.5 years. She's got a trucker mouth like the rest of us.
I love it.
Yes,
yeah.
she does.
That's it.
Well, hey everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Higher Estate Moving Forward, the Higher Estate Live with me, of course, but we also have Al Rapp here, and we're going live on Lifestyle Radio.
How are you?
And look who just walked in, Rena. Come on in. We've
Come
got
and
a
sit,
chair
Rena.
for you. We're gonna give
Pull up
you
a chair and share
we got it all.
This is super
Got a
weird
mic
because the
for you,
last
too.
time I came, Rena was like a random special guest as well by an accident.
To randomly be everywhere. Take a seat. Bring a chair in, guys. We are.
Good one of those days.
This is you don't have to sit in the boonies either. You can join us at this table because
Here,
plenty of room.
I'm even going to come over.
Yeah.
All right, get
Ring
cozy.
around.
Cozy.
Here we go.
Awesome. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited, guys. So first off, we are going to have this spot. You're not even. That's good. We're going to keep her unplugged. We got this. We have a spot now.
She's plugged.
On Lifestyle Radio at 3 to 4:20
Ish,
whenever it is, sometime around that.
I like saying ish.
With Al, thanks to Al, who is the voice behind the man. This is it. Like,
Well,
he's
the
community.
Your podcast makes number 6, and we're working on another one as well with I don't want to say who.
Oh, you all under mother. God
Watch your
damn
mouth.
it.
Your mom's watching.
No.
No. Put 2 nickels in
But
there.
I would
you
like
took one
to
out
say
in front of your mom because
to
you
Ira,
didn't hear you.
thank you very much for accepting
on the
my
chair.
offer to help you. I find that it's first of all, I think very highly of you and what you've done, not only in this city but in Canada, as a doctor who represents the needs of patients and cannabis.
For sure.
And I just like to I am so honored to be here with you, and we're going to try and pull this off every week with your flavor, lots of guests, and with real information. That's my big thing. That's 11 years for me, Ira.
Wow.
And it's always about giving people every side of the argument so that they can make their own qualified opinion about what they want to do with regards to cannabis.
I agree. Funny enough, so that's what the Higher Estate is all about. Our goal, as we always discuss, is to bridge the gap between the medicine and the lifestyle world in that mindful consumption. And the way we practice even medicine at Synergy is we sort of take away that archaic patriarchy of this is your medicine, take it and go, although I just dropped the mic. Because I'm waiting for Clint to get in here and say how thankful he is.
You want to drop a mic? Here. You want to drop a mic?
Don't drop. No, that's expensive.
No.
mic.
No dropping the mics.
Not that one.
But that's what we believe. We believe in the collaborative process of therapy. We'll provide you with the evidence. We'll work together on a choice and come up with a future that works for everybody.
The special thing, though, with this, Ira, is the fact that you're a fucking doctor, and doctors are afraid to do this. And you know that because you've been instrumental in going out and helping inform other clinicians. Clinicianists?
No, clinicians.
Clinicians?
You got it. That's a good word.
Who don't know shit. My philosophy on the whole doctors thing is that you're a younger guy, unlike my father, who's from the 50s of learning. A pill doctor.
He was a doctor
He was
well.
a doctor,
Yeah.
psychiatrist, specialized in light therapy and psychiatry, mood disorders, things like that. But he died last year of Parkinson's, and he didn't want to touch the cannabis. He did not. What he said was he did not want to use anything that would take control of his mind like cannabis does. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Well, he was trained under prohibition.
Well, that's my point. I mean, you when did you graduate?
From medical school, 2005.
So 2005 was a whole different learning. Did they teach you about cannabis?
No.
No.
We didn't hear a thing about cannabis. I mean, I didn't even know we had an endocannabinoid system. I had no idea that our body produced this stuff. I had not.
While you
none
were
of
in
that
school,
stuff.
you still didn't know?
No.
Really?
All they tell you is how bad it is, and they teach it under toxicology, right? But they don't teach it. They tell you, watch out for people that come in. Well, they use a different term for greening out. But,
yeah.
I've
done it. I ended up in the hospital. I thought I was having a heart attack. Took an ambulance ride and everything, and I just overdid it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, these are things they never taught us any of that stuff. That's just that's the new. It's not even new age. It's just we're going back to the basics, basically. I think what I think. I think a lot of this movement came from the fact that that we're in an opioid crisis right now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
We're talking about honesty and that you guys want real information. So I'm just going to call it out because I'm pissed. The pharmacist or whatever the BS, the biochem, pharmacist at McMaster University, Vikas Parhar is his name. Okay. I'm calling you out, Vikas. You specifically taught a course on cannabis and insinuated that dispensaries are purposely putting fentanyl into their fucking product to get our patients back. I had 3 of your patients come to me and tell me this, and that's how I got your name and number. And I just want to let you know that this is your one fair warning. If you ever educate people that way in cannabis again, you will be lawyered up instantly.
Wow. Hold on. So this really happened?
Yeah, man. I have it on my thing. I've been waiting to drop it on this guy. This guy was extra scum of the earth. He had said so many negative things. He had a list of suppliers who they should be getting from, and then dispensaries. And then he said specifically that dispensaries. I had 2 different females in the course. The one was uncomfortable after he left because he had said the stuff that dispensaries were purposely putting stuff in their products.
Well, this
to
is
get
ridiculous.
People back.
There's been articles turning up this week
He's a doctor?
about
he's
a pharmacist.
He's
a pharmacist at McMaster University.
Wow.
So hold on a second. So first, guys, you should see that Clint is actually mad about this.
Yes,
and I think
I'm furious.
should all
He
sort
should
of
be. We should all be
because
mad
we
about
do
it.
have a
Infuriating.
real problem in the
We're
community right
fear-mongering.
now.
Yes, we do.
Where fentanyl is by dealers and
it's not just fentanyl, Ira. They're putting it in. They're putting stuff in pre-rolls and selling them.
I get it. I get it.
read
So
that.
this is happening.
That's what they're
everywhere.
saying.
Yes.
Right.
Well, hold on a sec. So I'm also a coroner.
Yes.
Guys, so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm a coroner in
Okay.
the province. In the province. I mean, I only started a year ago.
Yeah.
But June. But this is what we're seeing. But we're not seeing it from reputable sources here. So when you see things like this, and people are saying, "Oh, the dispensary," these are these massive fucking generalizations again.
Yeah.
The fear mongering that's out there in order to push another agenda.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, buying street weed puts you at risk.
Oh, of course.
But we're not
It's-
talking.
Yeah, you're not talking risk of fentanyl and stuff. You're talking risk of maybe the cannabis wasn't cleaned properly.
Hold on a second.
Flushed
No.
properly.
Flushed properly.
Maybe
Black.
dispensary. Hold on. Maybe
Yeah.
dispensary cannabis.
Yeah.
But street weed, we're seeing that stuff. We see this now all the time. I see cannabis with traditional cannabis mixed with salvia. I see traditional cannabis
But
mixed
not with fentanyl.
Fentanyl. I see it mixed with heroin. I see this off the street.
Yeah.
This
Here
isn't
in Hamilton?
yes. This isn't dispensary weed.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about cannabis that you get from
Yeah.
MMJ or you get from Gunjanistas or wherever that are reputable.
Gunjanistas.
Whatever. I don't. Did I say it right?
Natural green healing.
Okay, I don't know what
Smoke some more natural green healing.
Have an influx of people.
He must have smoked that.
Okay.
He must have smoked that street weed.
Hold on. Listen,
Hey, Rena, he smoked some
Guys,
street weed. That's why he just said that shit.
Could be.
Oh, that's
Hold on a second.
happened,
So
Ira.
let's get some education straight here. I do agree with you that this is.
Well, that's I said dispensaries, right?
You did.
I
This
didn't-
is a lack of education.
If
on
you
this
would have said
guy's
street
part.
weed, I would have not
Right,
agreed.
so
But the
people
fact
need
that he says this
education.
with a list of licensed producers that are clearly funding this program, which I don't have any issues with licensed producers. I'm very good friends with majority of that side of the industry. I actually have a lot of good friends on that side of the industry, and I respect what they do. But this pharmacist is making them even look bad
Yes.
by going to the point and
I
pushing
agree.
an agenda that they didn't go in and say, "Hey, tell them that their stuff is filled with fentanyl to get them. Guaranteed
No.
not.
He would have approved
He went.
that.
Yeah,
You don't
he-
need to do that to keep your
guaranteed.
patients
That's
or to
no.
keep
That's
your
not a
clients.
smart business move, especially when you're falsifying an actual. Like he had no research behind it.
Yeah, no, that's just pure nonsense.
It's nonsense.
It's nonsense.
And
Show
to,
me
and
the
to have
facts.
and to have people call me and Facebook message me that I've never met and ask me to keep them anonymous because they're nervous because what they heard was like so absurd that they were concerned to tell me. I stumbled, like I stomped right into Mac, and he was there. And then when I said, hey, can I speak to him? He was conveniently not there. And I said, well, give me his number. I want his extension and blah, blah, blah. And I just got back from Europe and working.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be initializing a call with him soon.
Excellent.
And then we'll go from there.
That kind of, ignorance does need to be called out. And
Big time.
Accountability.
It's scary, man. It's scary that he's putting lies
so
like that
much
out into the universe,
misinformation out there
especially with
already.
retail coming. Whether they want us shutting down on the
I
17th
love this.
or it happens on April 1st, retail is going to be here. So why are you scaring away from retail, especially when retail, Tweed's going to have retail? Or
Do
no,
you
they're
think
not allowed.
Right, they're not. Yeah. Do you hold on? Sure. Do you think? Okay.
Under
Do you think
Tweed.
that?
But it's not their fault.
Do you think that conversation is going to change at all? I don't. I don't think you're going to have the conversation with the academic white ivory tower guys. Aren't going to see.
Of course
no matter
they will.
how good retail comes out, they're still going to say stupid stuff like this.
Well, the pharmacists won't be able to say stuff like that because
Well-
we're going to be getting all from legal suppliers. So as of right now, most of us in our industry
the-
get it from MMAR growers or ACMPR growers. They just don't have licenses to distribute. Now, most of that product is tested. You look back at all the growers that I use, they test all their stuff from Anandia Labs because they're ACMPR patients. So they can legally test it through there. To have people say that they're contaminating product like that for a profiteering reason is extremely concerning, and not for me because I'm MMJ or you guys because you're in
Compromises
Canada,
the whole
for the whole
industry.
fucking industry.
It does.
So
It
Where
compromises
people need
Let
to
me
be
ask
careful
you-
with that is the street dealers.
Yeah.
Because they're weighing up that
Correct.
fentanyl on a scale with those fingers,
Yeah.
soaking up that weed, probably
Or-
putting it on the scale even.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even a good business deal because they're killing all their
That's
clients.
it.
So,
Exactly.
like, does that make much sense? I'll tell you. I'm seeing
The
a
ones
whole
that don't die are coming back
That
instantly, though.
makes sense, right?
Yeah, what's going on? Or they're coming into a merch. But hold on, you brought up a good point. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to call you out on it
Yeah,
because you
of
just
course.
brought it up. You're getting your product from you're getting your product from ACMPR and MMAR guys. How is that okay?
It's not, but that's the only option we have right now.
Okay.
Until your side, or no, not your side, the government decides to pull their head out of their asses. We've been looking for legal supplies
Right.
for I don't know how long, 3 years, fighting for fucking retail licenses. At one point, we weren't getting them because we were the devil, and then all of a sudden, now we are getting them, but we have to wait till April, and yet we're still getting pinned on where you're getting your illegal supply. I'm getting it from a bloody grower that
And
doesn't
in
have
the
a license to
meanwhile,
distribute.
patients are
Why?
left
So
Because
hold
the
on a
legal
second.
product is terrible right now, and we can't work
Okay.
with them.
Okay.
Are
Fine.
patient grows not legal supplies?
Well, they are legal, but they're not allowed to legally sell it.
So this becomes a problem for me.
Yeah.
So and I mean I love everybody. I love you all. But let
We
me
love
bring
you
you
too.
let me give you my side. Somebody comes to me as a patient and
Yeah.
says I want a self-grow license, which I think this is creating a lot
Yeah.
of the trouble. Or when I was working in MMAR, they come in and say, or they can go to some shady ass physician. Okay, I'll put that.
I pay $350 for mine.
Right. So there's no money that gets paid. You
Drop a
fuck.
toonie.
You need a whole.
There's one there, so that's a toonie.
He's on a
but
roll.
you need a whole. Clint needs the whole jar just full.
Can you
But-
pass it over here?
but I'm going to. My hand's gonna get tired. So they come in here, or they go to a shady physician who's charging them $100 a gram, or
Yeah.
some shadiness that's going on out there. And I think that, of course, needs to be challenged head on.
Big time.
Absolutely.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Okay.
Is it or is it not illegal for a doctor to charge for a cannabis license?
It's illegal.
On what grounds?
The grounds based on the investigation based on all the stuff that I went through when
Just look at
when
College rules.
just read it. No,
I
no,
do
but
my
hold
reading,
on. Let me
Ira.
tell you. So actually, because of the case,
Yes.
because of the precedents that I set back in 2010,
Yes.
all the way up to 2014, when I first started, when I first had the first college thing, when Global National came out with this video camera and put a whole bunch of propaganda on there, and the stigma was still really bad, and they're saying, oh, doctors charging patients to access healthcare. We had no choice at that time.
Yes.
At that time, you had to charge a patient because it's a federal program.
Yeah.
Remember, when we talk about when we talk about insurance companies, we talk about
Healthcare is
OHIP and all
provincial.
these. It's a provincial insurance company. So what you're saying, in essence, is every province, the largest insurance company of every province is the province's insurance company. They decide what's covered and what's not covered. Back in 2010 to 2014, we were unable to bill OHIP for an assessment, for prescriptions, for any of that.
So
because based on when I first started the case in 2012, I actually had a full legal team, and the college was wondering, are you allowed to bill or are you not allowed to bill? We started querying OHIP, and OHIP basically said it's a federal program, leave us alone. It's not. You have a federal issue, not a provincial issue. Cannabis doesn't fall under our jurisdiction. You have to bill patients directly. Fine. So that's what they told me in 2012, and I kept on sending letters, and I had legal keep sending them letters. Then finally in 2014 they changed their tune. They said, oh, well, the MMPR, when the MMPR was starting to come in, they basically turned around and said the political environment has changed. Therefore, we're going to start allowing physicians to bill, and it's going to be an insured service to bill OHIP, and other provincial insurance companies followed suit for an assessment of a patient with medical cannabis. So, and that was all based on me and all the crap that I went through for years.
Thank you.
How is it that you're able to come out unscathed, but Dr. Cameraman's wasn't?
So I'm not going to go into his detail. First of all, unscathed I kept my feet,
yes,
but lost all my skin.
Yes.
So I mean, there's a big difference between coming out unscathed. Mm-hmm. I've probably been the longest investigated physician in our country.
Dr. Price is a good man. He got me legal.
Yeah. Oh.
Look at that. Love.
So I definitely didn't come unscathed. Mm-hmm. But there's a difference between how I began my practice and how I continue to. My belief was always to create proper guidelines and dosing, and if I'm in medicine, I'm going to practice medicine.
Yes.
So within the medical realm, when I started there, I mean, we couldn't even figure out. We were still, you have, I have a 20% strain. Well, what the hell does that mean in milligrams? Like, we didn't even have proper testing then. You weren't even allowed to test your cannabis. So we had people making up numbers. So eventually we started getting testing, and I was able to do conversions and make up protocols and create standards and guidelines that we could follow so that we could legitimize the practice of medicine using cannabinoids. So that was a large difference between what I was doing back then and what other guys were doing back then, that were saying, and not that they weren't good guys, they were great people. They were just trying to make a difference. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But at some point, there were people in the industry that really were trying to take advantage of physicians back then. Yeah. And were saying, and a lot of pressure.
And certain physicians were taking advantage of patients. Yes. On the pricing and charging people.
Sure. Of course. Back then you had to charge patients. You didn't have a choice.
Around $3,000.
So, yeah, there's a lot of craziness. Yeah. So eventually, so I started building. I sort of always maintained, don't care what you offer me in terms of money, I'm not going to change the way that I practice medicine because for a short-term gain of making a couple grand. That's not how that just wasn't. That's just not how I practice.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like you have ethics.
Right. So I have.
Thanks for that 240-gram license. No, I'm kidding.
Right. Yeah. You just say that was not. Yeah. Listen,
that was
what are you
actually
doing next week, 2007. What are you doing October 17th for MMJ? Exactly. Want to go there?
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's called Wait and See.
NDA. Yeah. It's called NDA. So it took till 2014 when OHIP finally turned around, based on my legal team continuing to query them and ask them. Actually, my legal team didn't even want to go there with them, but I said, listen, I've been asked. My regulators are asking me about billing codes, so this is all involved in the case. So they took it on, and eventually in 2014, with the changing, and I have all this stuff in writing, with the changing scope of practice or the changing environment in Canada, they basically said, now you are able to bill us.
So because of what you went through, now you
laying the groundwork.
Can bill the insurance. Correct. That's correct. Now, in certain provinces.
Do you think that that's going to help down the road after everything changes? Even though we're talking medical, and on Wednesday it's recreational.
Yeah.
But do you think that we're going to get to the point where ODSP and other insurance are going to start covering their clients.
Yeah,
I
so,
think so.
you know, I had this I had this good conversation
I think
with
hope
Clint.
so.
Lasted about 5 minutes where he said, I don't know what the fuck medicine's going to do anymore. Anyway, I'm going to now put that in because I was just quoting Clint.
Did you hear how randomly aggressive that was? I was super stoned and like zoned right out, and all I felt was like a price slap right from the side.
Nothing like your doctor slapping.
I was literally just like half zoned out. I was like,
All right,
For
no,
the
I'm not going
record,
to...
The clinking you're hearing is Ira and Clint, and sometimes Paula throwing some fucking money in
I've
there.
been good.
Throwing in
There's
there
from
for me.
Al.
Into
Oh,
this-
Looney, we're
no.
running out of toonies.
Where does this go? What is this for? Coffee? Or?
Yeah, this is going to go to the clinic and help people pay for
So
cannabis.
essentially, one hand's going to pay the other. Ira's going to take it from us and put it back into his
I'm going to take it out
pocket.
and use it again next week.
What is this we're drinking?
You're
Ira?
drinking kombucha, but you asked a really good question. I'll get back to
Okay.
that. So
Kombucha's
a
good,
couple
though.
weeks ago, I had a conversation with Clint. It was, or maybe a couple months ago, beginning of the summer. He won't remember because he spends his whole summer traveling. And
Oh, slap! Working in different parts of the world is not my fault.
yeah,
Get good at your job, and you can join me, sir.
All right.
Yes, 1-1. Swear jar.
Oh, whatever. Fuck it.
Swear jar. Oh, thank you. You dropped
Yeah,
it.
okay. So,
Just pick the whole thing up and screw
Just
it
dump it in there.
so we had this conversation because the truth is, if you look at the Colorado experience, California experience, you look at most of the experiences in the United States, and you look at what's happened with legalization. You look at about a 75% shift towards recreational, or what I'm going to call lifestyle cannabis, and maybe 25% stay in the medical realm. But we have to understand something. Those are countries, or that's a country where it's not federally legal. So insurance companies don't have the opportunity to get involved. ODSP doesn't have the opportunity to get involved. What I can tell you from a medical side is two really important things that are great. First, ODSP will cover the cost of your vaporizers.
Yeah.
They will cover your accessories. They won't cover the cost of your
Sometimes.
cannabis yet. Well, we get them covered all the time. I've never had a problem with a patient.
Are they still sealing records?
Here's what I'll tell you. Yeah. So here's what I'll tell you. Again, when I started, I used to get letters from ODSP and from the government,
do
from
that.
all
You
these
can't
guys.
do that.
Don't ever send us
Yeah.
letters. Don't ever do. And eventually, I just bug them enough,
That
and
they-
then the environment changes enough that we're able to make or affect this change.
He's like Tim Robbins from Shawshank Redemption. keeps writing letters till they give him a whole library.
You're getting violent now.
What am I
You know what? He climbed through a whole tunnel of shit to get to where he was.
Listen.
I was going to say one of my lower
go
income
on.
patients came in with a letter of refusal from ODSP for a vaporizer because he was told he could just eat it. And
Yeah.
he was like, how do you propose I just eat it? And
So you have to write a very specific letter
yes,
with
I
it.
helped him with that
We
letter.
write a letter that says the patient needs to use a vaporizer because just, there's certain, because of the mechanisms in which it works, here at
they
Synergy,
think
we
you could just
recommend.
take the bud and
Yeah,
eat it,
they-
and it's
people
all
have no
gonna
idea.
Just
go
eat it,
away.
you're fine.
So hold on, let me go back
They
to
don't
this question.
understand, right?
Let me go back to
Lack
this
of
question.
knowledge.
So we have the opportunity, ODSP covering things like that. I think eventually it'll move on. What I'll tell you is Synergy and myself, we've just partnered with an insurance company.
That's amazing.
That's
Right.
going.
Which company?
They're called Epic.
Oh, nice.
Evergreen
That's pretty
Pacific. Yeah, Evergreen Pacific Insurance Company, and they're going to be covering the cost of cannabis for patients. Now, it's not going to start off at 100%. As we grow, eventually it'll get up there because cannabis is different than saying take a pill. It's based on grammage. So patients really need to know their dose, which is why you need proper protocols for that. But they're going to start covering that. Not only that, when we had these discussions, I'm like, it's important to cover cannabis, but we got to not stop covering. We should continue to cover the treatment of disease, but we got to start covering the prevention of disease. So spend millions to save billions. And so I now have them. We're at a point where we're going to start covering things like Pilates, yoga, sound baths,
Great.
mindfulness training, all these sort of different
Mind body wellness. It's all
right. Because if you look at the number one, the first recommendation in the pain guidelines, the national pain guidelines we use here for opioid therapy and all this chronic pain stuff, what is the first guideline, the first recommendation? Strong evidence to support the use of non-pharmacological therapy in the form of things like Tai Chi and mindfulness training and yoga and exercise before you start using pharmacological therapy. But what do? So the government says go ahead and do these things, but they give you no plan.
Then they give you no funding.
No funding, no plan. They just say go ahead and figure it out yourself. But you're looking at a bunch of Western doctors. We don't know how to do these things. So Synergy, we're creating a plan in combination with Epic. We actually have this whole ecosystem. We have an e-commerce site. We have a whole bunch of things that and a not-for-profit, and we're going to all work together towards improving people's health and wellness. So that's with legalization. So legalization not only will help the lifestyle market. I'm not a prohibitionist by any means. So that
was racist.
Right. So, but what? Saying prohibition?
You're not a prohibition supporter.
No, of course not. I'm not.
I know that.
No. But my point being, so it's when I say I'm pro legalization, I don't think any drug should be really. I mean, that's people get to make choices, and it should be in a treatment where people should be, helped, not in prisons. And so, prohibition hasn't worked at all. So I'm for legalization from that perspective. And from a wellness perspective, it's a lot healthier than other legal things that we have on the market. But from a medical side, I think that legalization will also help propel forward things that are federally legal in Canada that they don't have an opportunity to do in other countries. So that's where I say medicine, as soon as insurance companies get involved, medicine will maintain its rightful place.
Well, it creates the normalization that everybody's talking about, right?
Sure.
The sucky thing, though, is the government's not on board.
With what? The government is.
You mean the medical side?
No, it's not. They're just they're doing what they have to do.
So
pretty much.
Yes and no.
That's a hard one. Yeah, it's hard because I don't think they know. I think they don't know enough about the medicine, unfortunately. I don't think that they're not on board. I think that they're making with what they do, and they're making do with what they have right now and what they've created, even though it's super flawed. Because they're learning and they're trying to keep up with everyone. It's very rare.
Thousands of people to disregard everything that you know or have been taught or thought or grew up with about cannabis because it's really
They're making it legal, and they're saying that these LPs can't advertise, but you drive down the Don Valley Parkway and that's all you see now.
I see tweed. I see.
But it's an educational point of view, right? Yeah.
So to clean.
They're trying to build their brands, which I have no hate on Aurora and or Tweed wanting to build their brand. Rightfully so. You shouldn't be blocked. Yeah, you shouldn't be blocked. So they found a way to do it, and it's through educating.
They don't mention cannabis.
Get educated. Talk to Tweed.
They say hi.
Educate more. That's not breaking promotional because it's not like you see Tweed come get weed on the sides of the highway. But it's always from an educated point of view.
Aurora, I saw one of their new posters up on the big screen there.
Yeah.
Aurora actually does have some leaves on their new poster. Yeah.
Well, back to Clint's point. Okay. We and your point, where your question, the comment was, does Health Canada recognize the benefits of cannabis?
It says on their website, no.
Right. So there are two cannabinoids that are two medicines that already have a DIN number 3 now. We have Epidiolex, which is the newest one for pediatric seizures, but we've had Nabilone on the market forever, and we've had
I was on it for 5 years.
Right. We have Sativex on the market that's been on the market forever. So clearly we know that there's medical benefit for it. But from the herbal cannabis perspective, people just haven't figured out how to dose it. I've written guidelines for it, and we're moving towards those things. And I think what you're going to start seeing now in the next 5 years, which is why Health Canada came out and said we don't really care what the CMA says. And by the way, let's talk about that in a second. You have the Canadian Medical Association that comes out and says we're not in support. We think that it shouldn't be in the medical realm and blah blah blah. I'll tell you, first of all, the CMA I don't know why they write policies. They're a private organization that's a volunteer organization that that basically runs MD Management and sold it for a couple $2 billion to Scotiabank. Yeah, so I don't know where they come across. Now everybody respectfully is allowed to have their opinion, and I respect everybody's opinion. I respect their opinion as well. They're allowed to have it, but as a group to say physicians don't want, that's a massive generalization. Considering that we've made such a massive impact And I haven't published the data yet, but you'll see it eventually on replacing cannabis for opioids for cannabis. And we see that happening. We're in the middle of a massive crisis now. And so if we have something that could potentially combat that, how could you not look at it seriously without just right away closing it down? So even yesterday, where the president of the OMA actually today came out with an apology for yesterday. Really? The president of the OMA said that cannabis was a gateway drug. But hold on. Yeah, but before we judge, I actually respect her because she came out today and apologized and said, my colleagues have corrected me and I apologize for making that statement. So that's education, right? So all of this, we're talking about one thing, and that's education. So the more educated they can get, and that's why we've got programs out there like the one I run, the one you run, the one everybody runs, that's why we have those programs so that we can get that education out there. But what happens next week?
But like from a just to add on that
segue.
I was trying to get
that's called deflect. Boom, right to the left, like I pulled out the Captain America shield and it just
I don't think he's in any more of them. Didn't you retire?
Yeah, listen. Yeah, no, he's done. You talk
you were
about
thirsty, by the way.
I was thirsty. It was great kombucha, man. Yeah. I started, thinking about like the people that have a ton of experience on the regulated side, besides people like Adam Greenblatt, who kind of came from our side before he joined on with Tweed, and Philippe Lucas from Tilray, who is an original.
Matt Murnaugh.
Yeah, but like, I'm talking like now under the Matt Murnaugh's not he's not running a major licensed producer. So, I mean, to get someone educating people to keep them up to date, it's very few and far between on that side. And you got the guys like, Dr. Mark Ware and certain people like that. But, Philippe Lucas is doing a really good job, regardless of what you think of Tilray or not, defending.
I like Tilray.
Yeah, defending the medicinal aspect and even dispensaries. You got to remember, he ran the Victoria Compassion Club with Ted Smith, and he was a counselor. So he was the first city councillor in Canada to operate an illegal dispensary while he was a counselor. So he's never forgotten where his roots are. No matter how powerful Tilray's got, Philippe Lucas, if you sit down and talk to the man, this dude is just pro making everyone inclusive and working it out.
Let's talk about insurance.
That's good to hear.
But it's really cool that you're starting to see this. So the more people that the regulated side are gaining from experienced pioneers that are transferring over, like Kirk Tusaw, Matt Barron.
Well,
these are people.
Change comes from within.
That's it, man. Everybody gave flack to these two, but to me, Kirk did a lot of great for the law side of everything. So it's like, what? I'm glad that there's somebody from our side that is on their side because he can sit there and be in the rooms and go, hey, no, that's not right. Legally, you're going to lose that battle. So now you're not going to see as many stupid comments coming out of a regulated market's mouth. You're not going to see a lot of actions towards the unregulated market that are kind of slandering. You're going to get a guy who's fair and understands the whole side of the market.
Hold on a second.
Bridging the gap again, Ira.
Right. It's all about bridging. Look who we've got sitting around this table with me right here. Like, this is amazing. Where else does this happen? But again,
right here, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. on Radio.
Shameless plug.
And on the Higher Estate.
Okay, but Higher Estate with Clint Younge and Dr. Ira Price.
All right. Yeah,
I have room.
We have room. Yeah, all of a sudden, You won't find him because he's in Vietnam and Cambodia.
Hey, listen, man. People need help. People helping people.
I don't know where. Yeah, people help people.
People helping people.
I see those photos.
Beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful.
I had to hide everything. I couldn't stand looking at it.
Who's this guy always on vacation for, damn it?
Fuck him.
Wow.
You know what the worst part is when you get to these countries and you actually, I don't enjoy these things like you think I do because I'm working so hard. And I get there and it's like, oh, Mountain this is the biggest, most famous thing in the whole country. Snap.
But are you going?
Snap. And then it's like I've been there all day like this. No, I haven't. I literally drove out there an hour to go back an hour to sleep, get up at 5 and bloody work.
Are you going and visiting the industry when you're out there?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. So I've been working in Berlin and Switzerland. I even started talking with health ministers in Thailand. Cool. So out in Asia, literally the only vacation I've really had this year was Vietnam, and that was in March, April.
Whatever.
Yeah, true.
Honestly,
true.
Play somebody else's violin.
Listen, I'm going to play your
this
violin.
Is bullshit.
Listen, see how angry?
Full of crap.
See how angry he thinks every time I go into Europe.
No, I'm in here. I'm over. Okay,
I want to cut to the chase.
He thinks every time I go to Europe,
I was trying to get an answer out of you.
You want to know why?
And then
it's because he's angry that they haven't welcomed him into the European market yet.
What's happening?
Oh, don't you worry.
What's happening?
By the way, what you're hearing. Sorry, just to let you're hearing dancing from next door.
That's fine. Dancing's good. It's what's happening with you folks next week?
So next week, we're going to be leaving it up to an announcement that's made.
Yeah, let's get the official.
On the 16th, if you check out the MMJ Canada Facebook page, they will be able to guide you and let you know exactly what we're doing moving forward. I will be taking on a project in Switzerland, as angry as that makes him, with a project that we have running out in Switzerland. I'll be spending a ton of time there and working with the Lost organization in the city of Hamilton, helping them work with the AGCO.
Amazing work.
If you put in a bunch of, can you take away your acronyms and start using words?
No.
Yeah, I haven't the faintest fucking idea.
Yeah, you're just he's just I'm going to blah blah to
going
do
to
blah
Switzerland.
blah.
I'm going to Switzerland. That's not an acronym. That's a full country.
Okay, fine. But you know all the other stuff.
No, I didn't. I said one acronym, and that's the Ontario Gaming Commission.
Okay, and in the meantime, I've heard absolutely nothing out of you. What's happening?
Because I'm not telling you. I'm not talking smack. I'm not giving you what you want.
No, not even.
You info monster.
Right.
Ask Paula.
Fake news.
Yeah, Paula, what are you doing next week?
Okay, first of all, Paula, say hi.
Hi.
Okay, now we'll start. Hi, Paula.
Hi, Paula. What are you doing now?
I would love to hear about Paula.
Yeah,
so
let's
Paula,
introduce her.
Let's introduce her.
Go ahead.
Now that Clint's not
better
talking.
than I do.
Paula is the owner of Gunjanistas, where I do the 420 radio show every Friday night and hang out
every Friday.
Do stuff. And she's also the owner of Natural Green Healing, which is
founder
and
helper.
Is that what we're calling the founder, the head helper, and it's the only place I go now.
Really?
Yeah. And it's not because
sorry.
Woo! Buddy.
Sorry, I've been let me explain that. I've been in MMJ.
Yeah.
I didn't have my paperwork and they turned me out.
You're damn right they did.
But they but I believe you do as well. So
yes, she does.
So let's first hear about Paula. Paula, thank you so much for coming on to the
Paula isn't so this isn't really Paula, everybody. This is Paula's duplicate, Paula too.
Radio. We're super glad that you're over here. Tell us who you are, what you do, and now that we got off to this really heated debate, like right out of the gate, now it's time to keep going. Okay, talk. Fine.
Paula too. Can you tell us about Paula?
How long do we have to wait till you start talking?
It's just the spot, being put on the spot. It just.
Okay, we're moving on. Just go.
Awesome. Everyone needs to visit that.
Yeah.
Tell us about.
I don't even know what it is.
Why
guys,
you started it?
Hold on.
Is Gunjanistas a lounge?
What
about Natural Green?
Hold on. First, tell me.
Natural Green Hearing.
Physician. You're talking to a physician over here.
There you go.
Tell me what it is. What is first? What is Gunjanistas?
So Gunjanistas is a social lounge that we started about 4 months ago.
What does it do? Like, is it a physical location?
Friendly. Yes, it's a brick and mortar, beautiful space.
Okay.
Downtown Hamilton.
It's like a vape lounge.
Yes.
I've never been invited to this fun space.
You should have been. You're a Gunjanista.
Absolutely. You've just been too busy
me and Rena are Gunjanistas together.
You've been too busy traveling around the world to bother about little Gunjanistas,
So hold on. Tell me. So what does it do? It's a community. You're building a community.
We just tried to build a safe space for people to come in, and learn about cannabis, use their cannabis, because with everything that's coming, we just wanted to help ease that transition into the legalized framework. As you already see, there's a lot of condo board owners and that making changes, saying no smoking whatsoever in these urban center, congested.
I think we're doing a whole bunch of depositions this coming week for this Bill C-36.
Really?
That's I put into it's. They actually are going to decide who gets to do their deposition, who they're going to invite. The government is deciding that, but I put in my name to do my deposition.
My building's fine. I get off the elevator in the morning and I go, who's everybody's, or what's everybody smoking this morning?
Right.
It's just
not every place.
So I mean, I guess the question
is
there a difference between vaping tobacco or vaping like liquid nicotine that's pumped with PG propylene glycol, which is
don't smoke that stuff.
So it's fine when we use it in IVs all the time. I mean, we basically we use it all the time as an additive, and it does cause low blood pressure, but it's fine when it's not heated. The problem is when you heat PG up, it can become a toxin.
Why does every e-cigarette manufacturer put it in?
Right.
Not every.
So now it's for cannabis. It's on one of those banned lists that you're not allowed to. But they use it at PG and all those other things because they say don't heat.
Yes.
But of course, then you go ahead and heat it. What else are you going to do with it? So there is a difference between using PG and the toxin that can come off that versus heating up vaporized cannabis. There's a big difference.
And hemp provides everything you need. You don't need any other additives. You can use all hemp-based.
So that
Al would have known that if he shopped in other places besides Natural Green Healing.
Right, like if you came to Synergy Health Services
that's
and
it.
got yourself some information.
Yeah, you got info and then walked on down to MMK.
PGVG.
So, but that being said, by the way, if we're talking about like natural oil, if you're using something like a polyunsaturated fat, which is like virgin olive oil or whatever, when you heat it up, you know that it's not good for you. So heating up a fully saturated oil like coconut oil isn't as bad, right? So, but eating it raw is not good because it's still a fully saturated fat, and you're seeing a lot of people now that have fatty livers because of the oil, not necessarily because of the cannabis, right? So we have to, there's always a give and take. These are things we have to think about. Here's the education. See, I'm good for something here. Guys,
that and a good haircut.
Thank you, sir. I do appreciate that.
Fist pump. I threw in I've been hitting you with uppercuts left and right. I figure we've been attacking each other pretty well on him's jealousy of my world traveling with work.
I did get a haircut today.
So
I'm
then we'll go
today as he's swimming in the blue lagoon backwards.
Listen, that lagoon was filled with CBD water.
Because I walked into it for 5 seconds and then went to work. Sure, that's what I did. Or those awesome dinners. Look, the beaches. Oh no, I just took this photo. I wasn't really eating that massive.
Hey, listen, man, there's moments in life that you got to take them.
All right, fair. But so Clint and I have this thing about our hair.
I remember the hair.
Right. So I got a haircut today because I knew he was coming on. But I don't know. You must have missed your cut today.
Well, no. I shut your face. My hair. I got rid of the slick back because this lady shit the bed on a cut. So like she went to trim like little hairs that were sticking on my forehead, and she fucking ticked the hairline.
There you go.
Nicked the hairline, so there was a patch, and I was like, at first I was like, just I'll rip down like a Fusion 5 blade, like a Gillette blade, and I'll just change the hairline by a centimeter, no big deal. Well, I sit down again 2 weeks later, she fucks it up like 3 times as worse, and she goes, I'm really sorry. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I'm like, really sorry. So now I have a patch.
No, we're not together.
I have a patch, and I'm like shaving it religiously every day.
Worse and worse.
Yeah, I'm looking like you're gonna rent me out to Hari Kushner family picnics. It's the most insane shit ever. And now I'm taking photos. And I'm like wondering, I can't even like look at the photos anymore and think about this patch. And I'm like, finally, I get in the car and I'm going to work in Europe. And my buddy's on the way to the airport, and he goes, I'm not trying to say anything, man. He goes, you pull it off. He's like, but is your hairline supposed to start way farther back than your real hairline? And I was like, I hate you. Like I was so angry because I had everybody. I thought left and right. I thought I had everybody fooled, and I realized that nobody just had the nuts to say anything to my face. It just took like a whole whack of real friends for me to go, hey man, your hairline looks like a bag of ass. So the ass is not a swear word, and that's why I didn't go in. Leave it. Leave it. I was teaching you a lesson.
I don't have anything to say about hairline.
Yeah. So I bloody shaved it right off, and I restarted, and I got it to
Fatima.
And I got it to a point where I could have slicked it back last week, and I was like, no, I want the more mature hipster glasses.
More mature?
A little upgrade. I wanted an upgraded version of Clint.
Change is always good.
That's it. I just want a little upgraded version of Clint.
Yeah, no, it's good.
The one that doesn't say at everything that he talks about.
Okay, but
and all that clinging you hear, by the way, has been Ira swearing. It's not me.
Right,
always.
sure. Well, I'm gonna I was thinking. You see, I have this bald spot here. That was from birth.
Question: why is the line so thick on that one? Who did it?
This is a good.
Who did the line
awesome.
though?
Because I get it shaved in.
Oh, Fatima did that?
Yeah, Fatima does an amazing job.
Born that way.
Oh, I know. Hope not.
I was born
Hope
with
not.
this though.
With a
So
side
I had
part.
intravenous, guys. It started from birth for me. I had intravenous through my head when I was born. I was
That's what
in an
that's from?
yeah, I was in
Oh,
an
here we
incubator
go.
for
Here we
3
go.
or 4 months.
Here we
right,
go.
exactly. So while you're all listening to
Wow.
Clint's like,
Was the
oh,
view
so what's that?
Was the view good?
It was great. It was hands all over me all day. I was born with pneumonia, and I was a prolapse cord, so my cord was wrapped around my neck, and I
Vote for Synergy Health this year at Canadian
Exactly.
Cannabis Awards.
By the way, don't forget to vote for. So we'll make sure.
Excuse
all
me,
of
guy
us
in the
are
purple over
nominated.
there with the beard. Do you have
Pace-
anything
Pace
that
got
has sad
nominated
music
as
that
well,
you can
yeah.
play in the
We're all
background?
gonna plug that at the end, anyways. You got to vote for Synergy. You got to vote for Pace. You got to vote for Clint. We've all been nominated here. So although
Not this year.
And Kim Cooper as well.
right,
Not this year.
I don't
And
really
they
get
didn't-
nobody nominates
They
me
didn't
though.
put any dispensaries in unless they
Not-
were LP.
Yeah.
For
Really?
Which is
Not
kind
in
of
the
which is
awards. There's
kind of
no
biased.
dispensaries.
I was in there for
Last
Cannabis
year.
Crusader. Oh, last
Yeah.
year.
Last
Last
year.
year
You
we won
crusaded a
7 out
lot
of 10.
for
I won
MMJ.
last
in
year
there.
too.
Yeah.
Just
But not
saying.
your
Not
dispensary.
Oh yeah, no, we won 7 awards as MMJ
Last
Canada.
year.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Strange.
You did a
Yeah,
great
Strange.
job at
Not
promoting
this year.
yourself.
They
Thank
did
you.
not include any of any of the dispensaries this year.
And it was just
Yeah,
all
yeah, not this year.
Amy
Yeah.
made a
It's all
point of
LP.
Yeah,
It's all
yeah.
I
LPs,
didn't even.
Which is
I-
kind of biased
listen,
because
Well, it's
one
not
day
really
you'll just
the-
nominate
we're-
Rena and
You
myself,
only
and
know
we'll just
where
call
they-
it a day.
where they
That's
messed
what
up.
we're with.
You know
where
what
they-
it is? Here's what it is. Those who don't have time to be nominated.
Where
I don't even know this. We didn't
this
even
is someone
know we were
who is
nominated
very
last year.
upset about the lack of nominations for himself. So now he's attacking everyone who people liked.
Yeah.
We still
that's
like you,
fair.
Ira, and you know what's funny?
All
I
right.
nominated you this year.
I like you.
I nominated
I
you this
didn't
year.
get nominated.
Yeah, you did. Your Synergy did.
Oh, Synergy did.
I
Yes.
nominated
I nominated
Synergy.
you from
Soon
all
he'll
my
be able to
emails.
like you from a distance.
Pardon me?
Soon you'll be able to like him from a distance.
Why?
I like him from right here.
Going to
He'll be
overseas.
back in.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh no! I was going to
Switzerland.
swimming. I was like, "Oh, where's
Swimming
he
in
going?
Switzerland.
Is he going on that little island there where you lock him up? I'm like, what's happening here? Okay, everybody, see ya. Say bye, Tyler.
Bye, brother.
Bye, Tyler.
Awesome, Tyler.
So, here's what I was going
What
to
time
say.
is it?
Come by.
Yeah, we have.
Make sure it's
Yeah, when's
infused.
dinner?
It is. Yeah, no, we have our last.
Rena's got some oil for you.
Plenty.
We've
Oh,
been
not
doing.
plenty.
Tyler's been doing.
She
Tyler's
just
been
prepped
doing.
480 meals, so not plenty.
Tyler's been doing cooking classes for Synergy patients.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been going really well. Yeah,
That's
the
amazing.
dietitian.
Start doing that at
And-
Pensionistas.
Yeah, it's been great. It's
It's
been
fun.
going really well. We just started it,
Mushroom
and we've
soup?
done 2 of them,
been
and,
there, done that.
and they're going well.
Literally.
Okay, but here's what I was going to say about the hair thing. I'm going back to the damn hair thing.
Because that's what he knows he's going to get the most compliments on.
Thank you. So I
Sure ain't
aside from-
nominations.
well, first I was going to give you the sob story of being born with a cord around my neck, a collapsed lung,
He doesn't want to listen.
the whole pneumonia thing. I was in an incubator for months. That explains a lot. You see? Thank you, Rena. Oh, but
How many
so
times have you heard that story?
never.
6 and it's still.
No, shut up. So I'm gonna tattoo this though. Oh, stop. He's such an asshole.
Hold it up to the mic.
You're just...
So can you tell us about your incubator days,
Yeah,
please?
no, I don't remember
Incubator
them.
music.
That's what they played for me. That's why I became so artistic.
You're gonna tattoo killer.
So I'm gonna tattoo. You're so horrible. I'm trying to say something that I'm gonna.
He's getting slapped around by the unregulated market.
I'm gonna tattoo the goddamn hairline. That's all.
Women are doing their eyebrows.
eyebrows.
Why not?
Randy did it on Trailer Park Boys.
That's right. Oh, his eyebrows?
Ra-
I got good
Actually, it's a
eyebrows.
permanent marker, but
Okay.
Good job,
same.
Randy.
Okay.
Randy always thinks things through.
Hey, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
First, before I shoot that question, can you continue? So, Ganjanistas, you're a
Welcome
lounge,
to
you're a
the
community.
ADHD show.
Where we bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
Where-
Hey, look, it's
but
a
I'm-
squirrel.
I'm the one where.
Let's see.
Oh, right. I'm the one who's bringing it back, of all people. Although I'm getting
people.
oily, my face getting. I need to dab.
We're gonna
a
have
little
to take
You
a break.
need to
So,
dab.
we need a de-oiler.
So hold on, Ganjanistas, you guys are building community. That's very, very nice. And you have a vape bar, and we're hoping that it gets to continue, right?
Where is it? Paul?
Right downtown in the International
the
Village.
But what's the address so
Ferguson
everybody knows to
and
go?
King, and
It's
it's we call it
242
Cannabis
King
Corner.
Street East, right
Nice.
at the corner of King and Ferguson.
Oh, nice.
Corner.
242 King
Cannabis
Street.
Let me
Corner.
ask you a question from a medical perspective, because I come from a regulated market. Of course, I come from a community. I believe we're all one, so there's no need to separate us in any way, and we should all try to understand each other, and that's sort of what we're doing here. where does that, okay, we're in a rec market. So in the rec market, I see where it fits in. How does it fit into, let's say, I'm changing this rec name to lifestyle. Okay, because I personally like, if we're talking cannabis, whether you're rec or medical, at all times I'm talking about wellness, health and wellness. So from a health and wellness perspective, where does something like Ganjanistas fit into that picture?
Do you mind?
Yes. Because you're probably the best story.
One of the things that we talk about quite frequently is the fact that I've just moved back into the city after 20 years of sitting there hiding in my apartment. I've got some anxieties that I deal with I'm out and about. But when I'm with Paula and a few other friends, I'm very comfortable. And where was I going with that?
Why? What the role is of Ganjanistas?
I come in from Toronto and I work at Ganjanistas, and I'm allowed to consume my medicine whenever I want, and I can use the internet and sit there and do my work while I'm in Hamilton. I can't do that anywhere else. I can't smoke on this. Oh, I can smoke on the street now. They've allowed us to do that. But I can't smoke in my car. I can't pull over and have some medicine. There's maybe, a handful of lounges where you can actually go in and smoke cannabis.
Yeah. Why are we smoking something that's good for us?
Well, I know you're going to say something about that. Okay.
Here we go.
I'm going to say vaping because I do vape. I've literally gone from $400 worth of cannabis to about $100 a month because of this thing.
Shatterizer.
That's right.
Yeah, got to give the Shatterizer plug.
I got my Shatterizer hat. Now I've got a Shatterizer.
But my point is, if they take that away from me, I'm back in my apartment.
Right.
Well, Ganjanistas brought you back to life.
That's right. You and Ganjanistas, Paula.
Well,
okay. Her energy.
And that's a story. So look at that. That's
I'm
a story.
Not the only one. There are several others.
That's the story.
Julie comes in a lot. Yeah. There's a few people that work in businesses down the road.
Yeah.
They can't consume there at all, so they take a 15-minute smoke break, and they come and they sit down. They have a monthly membership. Hey, how you doing? They have their meds, and they go back to work.
Right.
Okay. Without those kind of facilities, people like myself that what am I going to do? Stand in the middle of the road with my computer?
Well, just because it's legal. And as a medical patient right now, legally, I can go out and light up a joint anywhere. Anybody can smoke a cigarette.
Well, we're going to be
able
to
that's
the
recreational as
well. You want to.
Well, that's what you want to do. We can't do that. Under Bill C-36, you can't do that. Doug's trying to change that so that you will be able to do that. Anywhere that you're able to smoke, you'll be able to vape or be able to vape. That's
a human right. If you can have a cigarette, I mean, why can't I have my medicine?
To me, the whole idea of like we're standing on somebody's land who's regulating, it's like the whole thing all laws sort of don't make.
It's super weird that we have laws on stolen land.
No, it is.
Happy Thanksgiving, aka Happy Holiday Horror.
I gotta say, we got
a whole bunch of combos. Legal for us to go topless doesn't mean we feel comfortable doing that. Just because
it's that up for
we were saying just because it's legal doesn't and you can do it doesn't mean that some of us feel comfortable doing it. Just like the whole topless thing in Ontario. Women fought and won it. Do you see people walking around? No,
they just want to do it for a rate.
Feel comfortable doing it. Under scrutiny in public. Like I have kids. I don't, I don't know.
You don't want to wear topless.
Well, no, I don't want to sit there smoking cannabis while my kids are running
topless.
around.
Topless. Topless. Yeah.
We don't want that. Trust me.
There are some families where the kids don't even notice. I mean, it's a daily thing.
Well, a lot of families.
Where's mom? She's at the kitchen table having a smoke. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's tobacco or cannabis.
Don't smoke
or
tobacco
crack.
around your children.
She's sitting at the table having a smoke. Whatever it is. I should
say
so
that, remember we grew up and everybody was smoking. It didn't matter where you were. You were in a house. People were just smoking butts everywhere. We were just. It was like
my mom was
planes. You smoked on planes.
You had the little thing on the plane.
Yeah, you smoke on a plane?
I'm 55 years old, okay? And we used to go into the Imperial 6 in Toronto and watch movies and have a smoke or even smoke a joint. I remember sitting there watching The Wall for the first time, and there was a cloud of smoke in the theater. Okay.
So these things, to say we've progressed in a positive way as a society towards health and wellness, I think is a good thing. At the same time, again, we have to be careful where we draw that line between what's a human right and what's a violation of that. And we're sort of around that. Cannabis brings up this has brought up discussions that haven't been brought up in a century.
Can you use the same argument with tobacco as with cannabis?
I don't. There's no
Nothing.
benefit. So there's no
Nothing.
beneficial. I look at it from a health and wellness perspective. Like I said, I'm always coming at it from health and wellness. If we're talking about things, if we're talking about a socio-political standpoint versus a health and wellness standpoint, those are totally two different things. From a socio-political standpoint, I'm not a prohibitionist. So I don't believe that we should regulate that anyways. But do I think you should put somebody else in the line of fire? No. So you have to regulate where that's done so that you don't affect other people who may be affected negatively by that. But then on the other side, on the other side you have this, the health and wellness perspective where I'm saying it's not good for you, period. But who am I to tell you not to do it? All I can do is provide you with the evidence that supports not doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But as a human right, if you are a tobacco user, you have that human right to do that where it is illegal.
Do you have a human right to put somebody else in harm's way?
No, and that's an argument for the tobacco companies.
Is it though? If you're in a bar where you want people to enjoy, where you have smokers and non-smokers,
smoking a cigarette while having a drink.
Right. So the question becomes, which standard do you adhere to those who smoke or to those who don't smoke? So
people are choosing to go into a smoking lounge, right?
I think it's all about consent.
So people are
exactly.
So hold on, but so I'm going to give you the flip side. It's a non-smoking. It's a neutral space.
Okay.
It's a neutral space until you get. But it's what it is.
Okay.
Anything can be used as good or bad.
Okay.
Most things are just neutral.
Okay.
A bar is not a smoking or a non-smoking place. It's a bar.
Okay.
It's what you add to it that adds whether it's smoking or not smoking.
What if you designate it as smoking, though?
So that's one thing. But if you designate it, I think it shouldn't be designated as anything. And then you have spots that are designated for whatever you want.
You can do that.
So as a neutral, we used to have smoking sections within.
Yes.
Right? So
with no ventilation, which made no sense.
So I think maybe perhaps that is. But to say this is smoking and that's not smoking, there's always an us versus them again.
Yeah.
And I'm not an us versus them mentality.
So
I'm
you're
an
for
inclusive.
integrating?
I'm for integration.
Integration.
I'm about integration in a mindful way. And I think that we can work towards. Otherwise, again, we look at every war we fought. It's an us versus them. We're smoking, we're non-smoking. We're in everything. So if we're in everything, it's neutral. Let's figure out a way that we can make that neutrality work for everybody. That's sort of what I believe. And I think we can get to that point. I don't think you have to expose somebody who doesn't want to be exposed to it, and somebody who wants to be exposed can be exposed in their own way.
And that's what we're providing, right? Everybody that comes to Ganja Nistas, it's a consensual activity. You know that you're coming into an enclosed space where cannabis is being vaporized, dabbed.
But that's the goal.
Is there joints being smoked?
Sorry?
Is there joints being smoked?
Yep.
So, but that's the that's the activity.
And she does have an air circulation system.
I have an
the
air
activity,
filtration system.
the activity of a vape lounge or a lounge that's dedicated, that is Ganjanistas, its primary activity is smoke a joint, use cannabis. That's not the primary objective or purpose of a bar is not go in and smoke a cigarette.
No, it's to have a drink.
It's to have
correct.
a drink.
So you do the primary focus, and then the other things are what you're adding to it. Whether it's smoking or not smoking, they should have their own separate things.
And hopefully, lounges like Paula's, lounges like Ganjanistas, down the road will be able to offer a drink, so to speak. Or
no,
a duty.
I'll never have alcohol.
No, I don't mean
mixing cannabis and alcohol are
low vibration.
I'm using
alcohol
a drink
lowers
as
vibration.
in a bar sense.
Yeah, it does. Alcohol does lower vibration.
I don't mean a drink. I mean in a
infused
bar
drinks?
sense.
Oh yeah,
we've seen vibrations at work.
I have infused drinks waiting,
and
just waiting.
Cannabis. Like when you go to a bar, like Ira said, you go there to drink
or to eat. You go to a restaurant. You're going to a restaurant to eat.
Can't
Yeah.
wait.
So Paula, from understanding, like me working with the city and stuff like that, what's going to help you with keeping the lounge open and having a better fight is eliminating smoking.
Yeah.
And the only fact is that it gives them such a strong ground with smoking physical cannabis in a joint. They instantly give them the comparison of a cigarette now. So you're smoking.
Which is horrible. It's not,
I know it's. I know that, but for the people that want to come in and enjoy your lounge, right? They want to come in. Vapor does not hang in the air. No. So they can't really be offended by vapor because it's gone. Where now if I'm vaping with 3 or 4 buddies, now I'm not that guy who would do it, but you're going to get these stuck-up cannabis people, unfortunately, and you may not be drawing that crowd in, but you don't want to be inclusive to anyone. You want to have every demographic coming in there and spending money and enjoying themselves, right?
Absolutely.
So you're going to get majority of people now who just don't enjoy cigarette smell, right? The cigarette and hanging smoke, and then the ones that don't like the cannabis hanging smoke are the ones.
Tobacco in
No, I know. I'm not saying.
He's talking about.
I'm talking about the combustion of smoking the flower.
So,
it hangs in the air a lot more. Right?
Let me just clarify something.
Hold on, wait. Let me finish. So what they did in BC, Paula, if you are going to allow, say, a smoking joint area,
you need your own separate room.
Do a separate room like they did at underneath cannabis culture. The New Amsterdam Cafe,
well, and
it was after 6 p.m. at night. They had the one area that was like right in the room. It was totally ventilated, like a European airport where you could smoke still in there. It's ventilated like that, and then you have the choice. You want to smoke your joint, you go into that little room. Now, when they come to, confront you on your business, which they will, and they're going to find every little reason to do it. Yeah, but they're going to figure out they're in there nicely. Everything's great, which means they're doing their investigation, and now they're going to they're all they're doing is being nice to your face and thinking of ways to pick you apart. So to counteract that, put that little room in there, because now you have an argument when you stand up in court. No, there's a ventilated room where people who want to medicate with their cannabis can medicate in the joint form and not offend everyone else in the area of consumption. Yeah. That fight right there will get gone. Yeah, you'll instantly win it. Yeah. Now that they don't have a leg to stand on, where if you're just freely smoking in a public area, they're going to be like, hey, we don't allow smoking cigarettes in public areas. We don't allow
technically a private area.
But
it doesn't matter. You're allowing.
But you know what I mean. You're allowing the public area.
Yeah. Once you charge a fee, it becomes a private club, and the law changes.
But it's not even those people. Do you hire employees to work there?
Well, no, not yet.
Okay, but are you going to?
Hopefully,
if
one
you
day.
If you hire an employee, the employee is the one who's at risk.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. You have to hire employees who are okay with that.
No, but you can't. They still
you don't
labor
want that.
law. You don't want that.
You don't want labor laws getting involved.
There are ways around it. But anyway,
I'm just saying, that's a genius idea, Paula, to put that in. Put a little ventilated room. Block it off.
So that's great from a get legal perspective. But let's talk about health and wellness and combustion of cannabis. Combusting cannabis. We're not talking about cannabis that's bad for you. Combustion, incomplete combustion, whether it's cannabis, tobacco, whatever it is not good for you. Now, there are antioxidants inside of the cannabis itself, the plant material, that help offset the effects of combustion, but not enough. I mean, Tashkin in 97, I can quote you all the studies, showed those things, that, there wasn't this massive increased risk, but Callahan in 2013 showed that there was a 2.2 times increased risk of lung cancer in people that smoke joints, after accounting for things like alcohol and age and tobacco use. So there are incomplete combustion is the problem here. We're not talking about, we're not talking about the cannabis itself. We're talking about combustion being a problem.
So if we do encourage vaporizing,
if you're, what's that?
Did you ever read that discovery study that concluded that combustion actually helped to worked as a bronchial dilator?
So cannabis is a bronchodilator, not combustion.
Yeah, but they say smoking it sometimes is an anti-inflammatory for emphysema.
Yeah. When I first got my license, my doctor specifically said
so that's a post hoc. So I remember reading something like that. I don't think that was the primary objective. That's a post hoc. It wasn't a bronchodilator. Those who smoked had a lower risk of developing asthma. And the reason is because those who have asthma are less likely to smoke. So the question that's being asked has to be correct. I think that was a post hoc study, but I'll have to look at it because I don't have the exact answer. But I do remember hearing something about that. But that's a post hoc study. That we can make things look like that all the time. And the truth is, we've seen that. We see that with smoking. People would say that smoking is protective from asthma. That was the result of one of the studies. And the question is why? It's not that smoking is protective of asthma. It's those who have asthma are less likely to smoke.
This one actually concluded that smoking cannabis increased your lung capacity. And they measured people's...
So Tashkin in 1997 already showed, we didn't have vaporizers then. All of the studies that were done on it, I'm not going to argue the fact that smoking cannabis is a bronchodilator. Cannabis is a bronchodilator. I can put it through an IV and it's a bronchodilator. But you take away combustion and you're going to have more of an effect. You're going to have more
of a positive effect.
Yes.
Hands down, yeah.
All the studies that were done back in the 90s that were done on respirology. There's a lot of those studies. Were all done with combustion because they didn't have other mechanisms. And we already know that cannabis is a bronchodilator. Being a bronchodilator and causing cancer are totally different things.
Is cannabis?
THC is a bronchodilator.
Yes.
Can act as a bronchodilator.
Yep.
It improves FEV1, which is improves your lung capacity.
It can help with that.
It can, yes.
Helps me
Combustion
big
doesn't
time.
help,
I use it for-
but when the studies were done, it still does better than placebo, but it's still, you're at an increased risk for all the bad side effects.
So let me ask you a question.
So just don't fucking combust. I don't know why it's so complicated.
Because we like to
About
combust,
that.
bro. There's
Right.
something nostalgic
So
about
it's
it.
the
So
whole
hold on.
plant-
So that's no, it's not. You're losing most of your plant
This is
material.
my personal. This has nothing to do
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Ganjanistas.
But hold on. So your bioavailability, it's just talking science. The bioavailability from combustion is 10 to 15%. You can vape and get 50% of your plant material. That's just fucking science. I don't need to, and like that's just hands down. That's
Stop.
what.
Loony. You swore at women, so that's a toonie.
Yeah.
Is it true?
That's why you went from $400 to $100 using a shatterizer. I don't want to hear those arguments anymore.
When you add tobacco, the big thing in Northern Ontario,
they still have been doing it for
bots
years. These stupid
Bots or poppers.
It's ridiculous. Stupid
what I've heard, and you can tell
nuts
me,
crap.
You can tell me if this is true. What I've heard is the reason that people like doing that, not only because they're smokers, is because it opens up the bronchial.
No.
tubes.
Tobacco doesn't.
Tobacco adds
No.
a rush. There's a
No,
rush
no,
that
You get a
intensifies.
nicotinic effect. You get a receptor effect
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
causes this extra little rush.
what I've
And
been
you get
hearing-
more
what I've been
toxins
hearing
that
for
causes
20
an
years
anoxic.
Yes.
Yes. Popcorn lung.
Yeah, and no,
No,
popcorn,
not
no,
popcorn,
doesn't
no.
cause popcorn. No.
That's from vaporizing,
That's a
right?
chemical.
No, that's PG.
PG,
That's
yeah.
vaping.
That's what the
From
Yeah,
VG,
it can-
yeah, from vaping PG.
PG can cause that.
Yeah.
So, right, not vaping cannabis at all won't cause that. I want to go back to this thing because, you know, this shit
We have-
bugs the crap out of me. We have
we
5
have
minutes
20
left.
minutes left.
Oh, we got
Okay.
plenty of time. We got
I
20 minutes.
apologize. I'm going to have to leave you guys.
Why are you
early.
leaving?
I have to head to Toronto to meet Jonathan Hirsch. Someone else was on the.
Oh,
Crusader.
fine. Fine. Bye, Irina. We love you.
Love you, Rena.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for
out.
coming
Thank
by.
you for having me. Sorry.
Come by anytime. Every Wednesday we're
kombucha.
here. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go back to this discussion here. Because you said, you know, the only argument that makes sense to me is the argument Clint just used. And that's, we like it.
Good,
That's
like
the
it.
argument.
There's just nothing like it.
Well, right.
It's just
see,
not.
There's a nostalgic
I've
feel to
tried
it. The
vaping.
cutting,
I've
the
tried all
roll.
different contraptions and
yeah.
machines.
You're
and
I don't know. You're
like
vape.
this.
You like vaping, or so you like smoking because you get an anoxic brain injury.
I wish I
You're
could do it
lacking
right now.
oxygen to your brain from all the toxins that you're going to get from combustion, and you hold your breath. You get that extra little high. That's because your brain lacks oxygen. That's why you feel that extra little rush. Now, you like it. That's a good argument to me.
Okay.
That's the only argument that makes sense is because it's nostalgic and I like it. Period.
That's it.
Thank you.
There's a process to it. I think when people think about cannabis and
It's a
on
ritual.
on a
You know, there's a
recreation
ritual to
on a
it.
recreational or even like a lifestyle
Yep.
The whole-
point
from
of
the
view.
choosing,
The whole the choosing, the
smelling,
cutting,
the
the grinding,
grinding,
the rolling
Yeah,
it.
the whole thing.
I get it. It's a nostalgic process.
So what's
But when
this?
it comes to him being a doctor,
I know, he
we
has
don't
to
stand a
err.
chance against the
No.
argument because ultimately he's right.
That's why
Vaping
I'm
is
not
healthier.
arguing.
Tinctures are healthier.
Right.
Clearly. Is there healthy benefits from smoking
Absolutely.
cannabis? Of course there is. But it's always healthier when you vape and or do tinctures and or
Right.
do
Yeah.
fucking patches or whatever. Jesus.
Are there
May I
patches
add, though,
available
I
in
must
Canada
say,
yet?
Yep.
from experience,
That's
I
a
have
good
some
thing.
digestion issues, you know, and sometimes I wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, and
Vicky, you want it?
and I've
There's a
tried
mic.
vaporizing and things like that, and it doesn't help. But when I actually light a joint and smoke within minutes, I just have a relief.
Okay, but I bet if you did a dab rig, so if you did a dab, but which is
But
healthy.
that's not really conducive to like bathroom
I have
activities.
That is.
I
Why
have
not?
a vaporizable
Have it.
dab rig here.
have it in your bathroom. One hit, go back to sleep like a baby, guaranteed.
I cough so much off that I only do solventless.
All I'm hearing over here, Ganjanistas,
No
is that
solids.
all these different excuses. I need to smoke. I don't want to vape in my
I haven't
bathroom.
had a cigarette in 5 years.
Right.
And the minute I quit smoking, I stopped having seizures and passing out.
Right.
Because I was toking my cigarettes.
I think, hey, I'm going to fist pump right here because Clint, I agree with him. He's right.
Yeah, he's.
At the end of the day,
I'm not
if you
arguing.
do it, then
I'm not
you do it
arguing.
because you enjoy doing
That's
it.
right.
But I will bring me up another point. I get all these medical points. The you gotta
save some. This is only the first
right,
show.
I know, but dude, we went off with a bang. If the nostalgia,
Yes.
which is of course fine because that's part of the process. People like wine, they like to
Yes.
circle,
That's
they
it.
circle the thing.
That'll
they
never
look
be
at
taken
it.
from the cannabis community. It's just
Right.
it needs.
Of movies.
Right, you won't take that.
It's a
But
recreational
if it
point.
becomes a problem for you, when we talk about addiction and stuff around cannabis, it's also that ritual. When I hear the word ritualized, the ritualization of anything is never good to me because this is habit forming stuff we're talking about now. And so the ritualization, terms like ritualization, I like to do away with. But the idea of nostalgia and or whatever your
And I say
other
ritual
words.
because we have these whole plethora of accessories, right? We all have our trays, favorite grinders.
Right. No, right. So that's how, when you think about how cannabis presents as an addiction, you don't see it presenting like traditional, an opioid or a narcotic, or heroin, all these kind of things where, if you give a person, if you have on one side, you have like an 8-ball and on the other side you have $100, they're going for the addict is going for the 8-ball over the $100. And that's the sign of addiction there. But if you go, you give a pot smoker. We have some patients that are here still that I didn't know. If you have a cannabis user and you give them there's $100 here and there's like a gram of weed on the other side. They're taking $100. May go buy the weed.
I don't know what stoner you're talking to, pal, but you put that shit in front of me. I'm going for the weed first and saying I'll just.
So,
unless it's gold dip.
Do you have more? I pick up the weed and go, that's amazing. Here's that $100, and then I go, can I buy some more of that?
Right. So I'll take both. I'll take A and B. But the way that it does present is very ritualized. We have and you said it, we have our favorite grinder, we have our favorite location, we have our favorite people, our favorite time, we have we have all that. That ritualization becomes habitual, and that's how cannabis becomes a problem. So using it from if you're doing it every so often and as you're doing it as the nostalgic factor and like somebody likes wine, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad thing.
It's just
but
not medicinal.
What normally people do.
And that's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine. Just if you're
that's
doing
all
that,
is he saying. He's essentially throwing curveballs at you, Paula. When you have to deal with politicians and these people who are regulators, these are the things they're going to say to you when you go, well, we're helping people. And it's nice, Al, that the place changed your life and it gave you a safe space.
They don't care, though.
They don't care about that. Yeah. They want to know exactly from a regulatory point of view. That's what they're just going to low blow you all day long and hit you with things that they know are written.
You can just shut them down and say, we're doing it because it's a lifestyle.
Stand there and say the same story. Okay, so what you're telling me then is if I can't work there, I have to stay home and work, which means I'm going to go through this same fucking circle thing that I've been going through for 20 years of depression and loneliness, and because I get afraid to go out the fucking door.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
This is just cleaning all right.
Fuck.
No. Now he's mad.
Fuck.
Oh shoot. Now you got Al pissed off. Oh man, we got Al pissed. So
So to me, it's like you have a good thing going there, and I think that you can definitely stay open. I think that you're going to be either your own demise or your own successor. Seriously, by allowing joints.
Smoking.
Yeah, dead serious. That's what I mean.
We don't. We encourage vaporizing. No. We have.
But I'm just saying for moving.
We have over 10 vaporizers.
Forward, I think he's giving you.
I'm giving you a wink. Moving. Yeah, they don't care. Trust me. Moving forward. Take my advice.
I would agree with that from the perspective of
and the only reason is because I'm sitting with them. I know what they're going to be. They're going to accept it, especially here, 100%. But I know what they won't.
You can't smoke.
And if you can dodge that, I want you to have longevity, Paul, because you're really good at you're a really good business person.
So somebody comes in who's been coming in for the last 4 months, and then all of a sudden they can't smoke in there, and they're going to.
Well, that's when you.
They're just going to. I mean, they're just going to do it on the street.
Yeah.
So,
but still, then that's their choice. Yeah.
Are we going to allow a place where people can consensually come in, knowing that they're going to be subjected to possible combustion of cannabis, or are we going to make them go out on the street?
You can avoid that. You can.
But you're not going on the street.
We're not talking about me at this point. We're talking about an entire.
Okay, but when they go, when they say, hey, we're going to put people, they're going to say, great, then they can smoke a joint on the street in the public area where we're allowing it.
Right.
It's not good to have it in an establishment. That's what they'll say.
Do you believe that the point of cannabis is wellness?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to stop you
than
there.
anybody else, because I don't believe it's a drug, and I don't believe it's
so I'm
medicine.
going to stop you there. If you believe that to that point, why would you do something that's not, just from a philosophical perspective, something that isn't healthy for you? You have the potential to use it to its fullest potential. Why would you take it then and just be like, it's okay to combust? We know it might be bad for you, but we don't really care.
And
You're basically saying we don't
never
care.
Smoke a joint again.
No. Oh, we got.
No,
Al, it's done. It's done. They've just convinced me. Like,
No.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know what?
No, but we're willing to make any changes, right? Right
I'm
now,
not even saying change. I'm asking the question. I'm asking, and this is for everybody. Call in, feel free, do whatever you want to do.
Call in right now.
Make sure that we
right
can do
now.
call-ins for next
Fine. The question I'm asking is if you believe cannabis is healthy and the idea is wellness and health. You have to take away recreation as the argument right now, because recreation, it's no argument. If we believe that cannabis is good for you, why would you think it's okay to combust it? Why do you think that it's okay to combust?
Because I'm sitting in front of you, Ira, I have not had the privy of listening to the full argument. I hear the argument from different people all the time, but not from a medical professional.
That's right.
Who has, you're talking to me like a fucking buddy.
Right.
And not like a clinician.
Clinician, you said it. Yeah, no, you got it.
Not like a doctor. You're talking to me like a buddy, and I'm understanding that.
Right.
Okay? My doctor said, okay, I'm going to give you 3 grams, and I don't want you smoking it. Okay?
Right.
And he put that right on my MMAR.
Right.
Okay? Now I got to go see him next month, and he's going to...
We're not going to smoke and choke. But right. So, but I mean, my argument is a wellness argument. It's not even a medical argument. I think the argument that I use. Yeah. And you know how I know? Like, so we do that retreat, the Cannabalist retreat, which is all about cannabis lifestyle. Yeah. I'm there to do the medical. I'm there to educate. That's what I do. We could call it medical. Call whatever you want. It's really to rid the world of bro science, because bro science drives me fucking mad. Yeah. So and I think that's super important. That we need to all be talking.
Bro science, bro.
Bro, it's gonna save your life, bro.
Bro, man, it's puke and pow up in Whistler. You want to go shred the gnar?
Yeah, man.
Bro.
We're gonna get into these conversations.
Yeah, we will.
Sure.
Okay, we will. But I mean, so just as the final point, the reason where I learned, or the way that I've realized, or to frame the argument is, everybody that comes there, they smoke weed, they smoke cannabis, they use it in ritual, whether it's ritualized in ceremony or they're using it for their own personal purposes. And they may have come in also smoking joints and things like that. When we have the discussion, what they believe is their body is their temple. If you believe your body is your temple, you should know what you're putting into your body. And if you believe that on a philosophical level, it's no longer a medical question. It's a wellness and it's a health and wellness question. And incomplete combustion's fine. Incomplete combustion, lighter, butane stuff that you light up, incomplete combustion is just not healthy. So why would you take something that's so
There
good
is
for
health
you?
benefits, guys, in these things. It's not as near as healthy as the ways he suggested.
Absolutely. There's no
of
argument
course.
there. We can't argue
Right.
that at all.
So listen, I'm not here to tell you what to do. For me, it's about vaporization, and it's about salves, and it's about
Eating
creams,
it.
and it's about eating it,
I prefer
edibles,
raw.
whatever, juice it, do whatever you want with it. The truth is, the whole plant,
Yes.
plant it, learn how to grow it, is therapeutic. So the whole plant is beneficial to us. And if we're going to use it as a benefit to us, like, it reminds me of the song from the first Cheech and Chong, Up in Smoke, That's Where My Money Goes, in a pipe, and I'll leave out the second part. And so, but that's really...
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna behave.
So that's literally what happens when you burn cannabis. So why would you do that if you have another option that's a healthier and safer?
Especially if you're claiming medicinal.
Yeah.
Now, if you're claiming recreational, he doesn't have an argument to stand for, because people just want to fucking smoke for this nostalgic reason.
Yeah.
Now, on a medicinal point, if you have cancer or you have emphysema, yes, great. Maybe smoking a joint does help the bronchial issues with smoking that joint, but you're going to get way more health benefits from
eating.
putting drops under your tongue
Yeah.
or
Absolutely.
vaporizing. You know what I mean? And that's no matter what you do when it comes
I
to that.
also, hold on, want to be clear that smoking, combustion, does not help emphysema. Actually, that's what causes it.
Yeah.
But so anyway, last thoughts here, guys. We're gonna close down.
First of all, I'm like tickled pink. I can't wait until next week. Is it
Yeah.
Wednesday yet?
Al was so excited.
I was been so excited.
I thought
all
you
week.
text
You
me
have
at like
no
2 o'clock in the
idea.
morning.
This is amazing.
You'll never guess what happened.
I was up until 2 texting you this morning.
Yeah.
I like the raw talk. It's
I think,
needed.
I think
you know?
on a last
having these
note,
discussions.
from my point, coming from a patient, I've been walking up and down the young street in Toronto since I was 19 years old with a joint in my hand, and I'm not going to stop now.
Sure.
But
rightfully so. Good.
That's from a recreational point of view. As a human right. From a human right.
Patient, which I am.
Yeah.
I use cannabis in many different ways throughout my day.
Yeah.
I want to know more about this next week.
I have one more question for Clint.
For this.
You got to go ahead.
My last question for Clint is, come October 17th, is MMJ going to close?
Come October 17th, you guys will be reading up on MMJ in one way or another.
Ask Paula.
Paula.
Ask Paula, yeah. What are you doing, Paula?
Well,
what are you going to...
I'm going to follow MMJ's lead. That's exactly...
What are you going to close
There's
your
a lot
doors
of factors.
until
There's
you
a
get
lot of
organized,
things
until we
to
figure it out?
factor in this, in that, you know, all of this has to do with recreational.
Sure.
We've never been, you know, we've
Yeah.
never been in the recreational part of things ever. So there's a lot of factors to consider because we're at the street level on the ground, you know, the front ground or whatever you call that there. People that don't have access.
I just want to know if you're going to close or not close. Close or not close. Yes or no. Clint, go. Yes or no. Yes or no. Yes.
Close and not closing. Closing and closing, not
Be
closing.
there for our patients.
Okay, let's not. Okay.
We'll be
Anyway,
there for our
thank you,
patients.
everybody. This was an amazing. Let's plug our last things. Clint, you were nominated for Canna Crusader. Go check
Cannabis
that out.
Crusader and Cannabis Influencer this year, and also Brand of the Year and Employer of the Year.
And so you can vote on
The cannabis or CanadianCannabisAwards.com. And scroll past all the nonsense that the unregulated market wasn't allowed to be in, strains, all that stuff, and get right to the Crusader and Influencer.
Al. You were on your Pace Radio.
Al Graham and Kim Cooper and Alicia Yushishin have been nominated now for the second year, and Debbie Stills-Giffen have been nominated now for the second year for Top Podcast. You can vote for them at the Cannabis.
Nice.
It was a Canadian Cannabis Awards.
Yeah.
We won last year for second.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And yourself?
Synergy Health Services was nominated as clinic. That's about all I got there. Just saying, pointing that out for you people. You know, sometimes you got to work behind the scenes.
Oh, here we go. See how the little uppercuts come from it? You know, the important people don't really need the nominations. We only take one a year.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, this was an amazing episode. Are you closing or not closing?
I'm going to be not closing and closing.
What?
I'd
I'd love to know. Guys, next week it's happening, and I got absolutely nothing from
Nothing.
I got nothing.
We gave you
Not
no
a
information.
damn thing.
Nothing.
I got zero information, so I just
Paula
want you
will
all
be
to
staying
know that.
open.
Paula, I am saying Paula's going to stay open. Go check her out.
Make a suggestion. You're coming over next week.
Well, we're
Where?
Come over to Gungeon
Yeah,
News.
come wherever.
Then you'll
it will
find
be a
out if she's open or not.
non-consumption
There's a
time for you.
Yes.
Oh.
We will have an area set up for you with no smoke.
Okay. Oh, are we going
I'll
to?
sit you right up in the air.
Are we going to
filter
cast
box.
out of there? Is that what we're going to do it? Okay.
La 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 la
On that day,
la.
first, I'm waking up in the morning and doing.
Is that the 17th, next
cannabis-
Wednesday?
Cannabis and coffee with Tamara.
Wow. We're going
And
to
then
spend
I'm
a whole
coming
day
in to
doing
do
it.
Your show at Gungeonistas, and then I'll be there in the evening. Like
Are
I'm
you
gonna do
you
today.
around Friday for Naked News?
Naked News on
Yeah.
Friday.
Who's doing Naked News?
Oh,
The
Madison
Naked News girls
Baines
come in.
Oh, really?
and
They
Booty
were in last
Bongs.
week.
Ah, yes,
Yeah, that was
yes.
fun.
I interviewed her. I'm doing this TV show thing in Toronto.
Madison.
But Madison was on. She was one. Brought her and her mom on to the show. I think.
Why are you
Anyway,
stuttering while you're talking about this topic?
'cause I'm trying to figure out what it was. The name of the show is going to be called the Higher Education. It's going to be like pitched to Netflix. The whole thing. It'll be great.
That's
Stay
awesome.
tuned for it.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you can find us. You know where to find us. I think.
LifestyleRadio.net for
MMJ.
We'll be here live from the clinic or close by. I will be able to do phone-ins, and he'll be able to go out on location. And I'm looking forward to it, my friend.
MMJ.
Canada.com.
Ganjanistas.com. naturalgreenhealing.com.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. That was great.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Woo! That was intense.
Wow,
We got right in.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this lifestyle radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.